Welcome back to the Succeed with Dyslexia YouTube channel. In this series, we discuss news and topics that go on in the dyslexic community. So make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Here are the topics we're going to cover in this episode. Our director of Succeed with Dyslexia, Darren Clark, and his interview with Andie Carroll, founder of the Bali Dyslexia Foundation. Afterwards, Darren's conversation with Phyllis Munyi, director of Dyslexia.org Kenya and the Rare Gem Talent School. Next, a vlog featuring Books on the Hill, the bookshop we've previously covered back in episode 3. Following this, Darren's interview with Hickmott, who is a health and learning forensic coach and author. We're also very proud to say that Twinkl has featured our Succeed with Dyslexia blogs, so here's a little bit more about what that means.
We are delighted that Twinkl has featured our Succeed with Dyslexia blog. Twinkl states, whether or not you or someone you love has dyslexia is an important topic for all of us to understand and engage with. And so, following on from the back of Dyslexia Awareness Month, they thought it would be great to put together a collation of all the top blogs of 2021, and we're delighted to be a part of that. Succeed with Dyslexia is a global movement on a mission to raise awareness and champion accessibility all across the world. Please be sure to check out our website, all of our blogs, and also follow our dyslexia news on our YouTube channel. Hello, my name is Darren Clark and I'm the Managing Director of Succeed with Dyslexia, and we have another absolutely amazing interview today. We have an incredible guest talking with us today. Andie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Andie Carroll. I'm originally from UK, and I would say the best way of describing myself is I'm an activist in education, and I'm wanting to shine the light on dyslexia and what support that we can offer the Balinese children on the island of Bali. So I've been here now for actually 5 years already, and it's gone very, very quickly. Already we're doing some great things here. So thank you for the invite, and thank you for the interview. I really appreciate that. And anything that we can do to create more and more exposure on the foundation is such a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. It's always incredible to see your journey, personally, as well as, what you're doing in Bali. To give kind of just for the viewers to kind of understand how kind of dyslexia is either perceived or kind of the work that you're doing out in Bali. Could you share that a little bit with us, please, Andie?
Sure. So Bali Dyslexia Foundation, known as BDF, it's the only charitable organization in Bali that's set up to support low-income families who have dyslexic children. And part of the mission is to support and provide testing and assessment for dyslexic children from the age of 7 to 16. And to apply educational intervention programs and also to deliver teacher training programs for local teachers. And the teacher training that I provide focuses on how they can improve their own teaching practices and know that they understand, be able to identify symptoms of dyslexia and to provide a room. So it's in our local teachers so that they can continue in the classroom and us to identify more and more children who are dyslexic so that they can PDF program. Absolutely. And as far as I know, it is the only charitable organization that's set up in Indonesia, not just in Bali, that help very low-income families to understand what dyslexia is. So we have quite a challenge, Darren, here in Bali, and the challenge is that we work in extremely remote locations, and we we are dealing with educators, teachers that are not even aware of inclusive learning and teaching practices, let alone what dyslexia is. So my approach is to underpin the policy that was rolled out in Indonesia in 2009, and it was a policy that the Minister of Education released to ensure and to encourage all teachers in Indonesia to practice and implement in their classroom inclusive learning and teaching practices. So that's the pathway that I approach when I build the workshops around dyslexia, because it's connected to what actually they should be doing. And it's a little tricky and it's a little difficult in very remote areas. And these are so disconnected, the villages that we go into, but the population is quite high as well. So the only way that I can have and create a systemic approach whereby we get the help and the support from the teachers, but we have to skill them up fast, and they are the ones that find and identify the children for me, and then we take it from there.
Up next, Darren's conversation with Phyllis Munyi, Director of Dyslexia.org Kenya.
Hello everyone, my name is Darren Clark and I am the Managing Director of Succeed with Dyslexia, and today we have an absolute phenomenal guest with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Darren. My name is Phyllis Munyi from Dyslexia Organization Kenya. I'm the Director and Founder of Dyslexia Organization Kenya.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Phyllis, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. It's always amazing to hear your story, the amazing work that you're doing within Kenya and helping the children. Could you tell our viewers just a little bit about Dyslexia Kenya and Rare Gem Talent School, and kind of a little bit about your story? That would be incredible.
Thank you, Darren. Dyslexia Organization Kenya was, we started Dyslexia Organization Kenya way back in the year 2011. We've had 10 years of formal dyslexia awareness in the country. And the reason why I started when I say we, I mean myself and my twin sister, who both of us are parents of children with dyslexia. We realized there was very little or zero awareness about dyslexia in Kenya in schools. And when we learned about it and realized that we had learned a lot of information helping our children, we thought we needed a platform for how to create awareness in the country. So that's when we registered Dyslexia Organization Kenya. And a year after that, parents now came forward asking whether we knew of a school where their children could be taken care of, where the schools understood about dyslexia. That time there was no school that understood about dyslexia. My twin sister, who was a teacher and who did not know about dyslexia before I learned about it, we planned and decided to start a school that would take care of children with dyslexia. And that's when, in the year 2012, we started Rare Gem Talent School. So Rare Gem started a year after dyslexia awareness was started in the country. Yep.
In this next segment, a vlog featuring Books on the Hill, the bookshop we previously covered back in episode 3.
Do you find sometimes that being dyslexic and handed one of these books can become very daunting? Just maybe it's the sheer size of it, maybe it's the way that the words are laid out on the paper, maybe it's even the colour of the paper. But fear not, there are some incredible people out there doing some fantastic things to make books more accessible. And I've just found one on the internet called Books on the Hill, and they've actually launched an adult dyslexic friendly book range. So I thought it'd be great to jump in the car and go and visit them. And you know what? Why don't you come with me? So I've made it to Clevedon. As you can see, just behind me, we have Books on the Hill, and they have a fantastic array of dyslexic books. So let's go in, meet the owner, and find out more. So I'm inside this absolutely beautiful bookshop, and I have just a selection here of the incredible books that are actually made accessible for dyslexic reading. Now, personally for me, I know that reading becomes a bit of a troublesome time. It becomes tiring, and sometimes I have to reread chapters, and sometimes just opening a book can be incredibly daunting. So this is why I absolutely love the fact and the thought that has gone through on these, within the spacing, the way that the font is, the way that the colour of the paper, the way that the book just flows. And I want to share with you the inspiration behind it with one of the owners. Please take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Alistair from Books on the Hill. I'm dyslexic. I've run this business for about 8 years now. Because I'm dyslexic, I've had trouble reading. I wasn't able to really read mechanically until I was 13. And then somehow it clicked. I can read in my head, but I still can't read out loud very well. And my sister has a lot of trouble reading. And one of the inspirations for what we were doing in this shop is becoming a small press publisher to publish dyslexic-friendly books for adults, which there aren't any, really, in mainstream press, media, or anything like that. I think we're the only easily available fiction for adult dyslexics in the country, which is extraordinary, but also quite sad that we're still at this juncture. So the books we've actually published are 8 books, in fact, by 7 award-winning authors. So here's one, here's another, there's a third, and a lot of them are my friends or have connections to, and they were happy to help us with this project, and hopefully we'll continue on doing it as well. And the main inspiration was to create fiction, high-quality fiction, which is accessible to people who are dyslexic or anyone who has any reading difficulty. We also have dyslexic-friendly books for children, sort of 14, 15 downwards, which are brilliant. They're done by Ransom Stokes, and they're perfect for that. We've been doing them for 20 years or so, and they're one of the inspirations to actually do what we're doing now, because I didn't have them at school. When I was at school, we didn't have dyslexic-friendly books as we do now, which is amazing for kids. And that's why we did adult books, to carry on from that, so there's something when you finish these books. And so they've done from different age groups. You've got a lot of these little ones here, little gems, which for a much younger age group, for sort of 6, maybe 5, 6, that sort of age group. Then we've got the sort of the 9 to 12 age group, 8 to 12, which are really good as well. And then we've got probably the 13, 14 age group, which is this one, like the Firebird, which is a bit more grown up. They're sort of cream paper, just like ours, and thicker paper, just like ours. But yeah, so great authors, great books, and so you can get dyslexic books right the whole age spectrum, hopefully now. Ransom Stokes for children's, and us at both press Books on the Hill for adults.
So there we have it, Books on the Hill. All the information for how to get hold of those copies will be in the link. So please do get in contact with them, and let's spread more awareness for dyslexia.
In our last segment, Darren's interview with Olive Hickmott.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me along, Darren. My name is Olive Hickmott, and I run a company called Empowering Learning. I would have been dyslexic if I hadn't been so old, because they hadn't invented it in my day. But I got to the end of school, I think it was when I was 18, and the school report said it would be helpful if Olive could learn to spell. And clearly, whatever they'd done, I was in a private school, I had been there for 14 years, and whatever they'd done hadn't worked. And so I went through life like that, and then I learnt, I sort of ignored the fact that there was some problem, because it was just like in those days, we hadn't invented dyslexia, and I would just go, well, this is just the way I am, etc., etc. When I was 50, I went on a course which was a neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, where they taught us in 10 minutes how people who are good at literacy do it. And it was a demonstration on the stage. I'm sitting there in the audience and going, you do what? Which was to look up and see words in your imagination, and then you can read them, and then you can spell them. And I was just blown away by it. And so me being me, I walked into my local special needs school, which happens to be half a mile up the road, the next day, and said, have you got anybody who can't spell? And they went, we've got hundreds. Which ones do you want? And I said, well, I think I've just learned something that might be useful. And so the rest is history. I've been teaching it ever since.
That brings us to the end of this episode. If you found this informative, please consider liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. Once again, we'd like to thank Scanning Pens for sponsoring this episode, and as always, thank you so much for watching.